What is up, everybody? This is the Baxter Street Boys. I'm your host, Cole Wilcox. Not joined as always by Jake Gordon today. He had prior obligations, so it's just me and Griff rocking it today. Last time we were on the show, it ended abruptly as we argued about, of all teams, North Carolina. One of us reigns victorious. We'll talk about that. But the big news, obviously, is the cocktail party. It's Georgia-Florida week. It is one of the best weeks of the year. It really is. Just the banner on Twitter, just knowing what it means. Usually it's for the East, but Florida sucks, so it's not for the East this year. But there's always pride on the table. So let's talk about it. Let's get into it. Let's break down the matchup a little bit in the ways that only we can, and let's make something happen. Please subscribe to the show. Like this video. It does us a huge favor. We appreciate you guys. Without further ado, let's talk ball.
It's the Dogs! It's the Sandler, baby!
Oh, he's running over people. Just stepped on their face with a hobnail boot.
The freshman just ran it back to Philadelphia. No! Goal! Your sideline, and it's intercepted. Intercepted. Keely Ringo. Touchdown, Georgia.
I know I'm asking a lot, you guys, but hunker it down one more time.
Griff, what's happening?
Dude, just been grinding, you know.
You're not kicking it at Frat Beach this week?
Heck no, man. I've never set foot on Frat Beach. I'm proud to say.
So here's the thing, man. Georgia, Florida is something you should go to. If you've never been, I would highly recommend doing it.
You should. Absolutely.
It's a unique experience. Like, neutral site games suck. I hate neutral site games, like the opening games. Like, we're playing Georgia Clemson in Atlanta. It's stupid. It should be a home and home always. Home, like, that's what's great about college. It's like the home atmosphere, the traditions, like seeing the college towns. It's the best part of it, and neutral site games kill it. There are some exceptions. Like, Georgia, Florida is an awesome college football experience. Like, it is college football.
It is in itself its own tradition. It's like the Red River Shootout. Like,
yes, there's only a few games that like neutral site is worth it, like, to stay. That one is to stay. We've been on this podcast saying, like, we support the home and home, because I still, like, as cool as Jacksonville is, I'm in a huge favor of going home Jacksonville. I think that would be sick.
I think that would be cool.
Then every single player gets to play at every place. Like, I think that'd be cool. But you know, it is what it is. What I will say is, I went 4 times in a row in college, and then the 2 years after college. I'd be good never going back. Yep. I would be perfectly happy never going back. I'll take my son one day, but that's about it. Unless somebody had a beach house, private beach house, I might just go down to the beach house, hang out for the week, play some golf, and not even go to the game. Like, number one, well, it will be sick when the Jaguars get a new stadium, because they're getting a new stadium.
Yeah.
So that will be cool, because that's one of the worst parts. That stadium is a joke.
It's bad. It's pretty ugly.
It's a dumpster. You look like you're just out in the middle of a freaking, I don't know, field, and they just dropped some big white building there, is honestly what it looks like. Number two, the traffic down there, because there's like 2 exits to get off right there. It's awful. The last time I went down there, dude, I sat in so much traffic. I was like, I'm not coming back here again. 3, like, there's just so many people. There is so many people. Like, there's nowhere to go. There's so many people. It's unbelievable. But it is, like I said, it's one of those things where, you know, if you go enough times, everything gets old. But if you haven't been before, it's awesome. It really is. I remember the first time I went as a kid. My dad the whole time, and I didn't handle losses very well as a child. I probably still don't all the time, but definitely as a kid I didn't.
We just don't know anymore.
Yeah,
We've forgotten.
Yeah, right. But he was like anything I did, I freaked out if I lost. Well, I took Georgia very seriously as like a 6-year-old, and he's like, Cole, now. He was just prepping me to lose, pretty much. It was 2007. We were not favored to win. We go down there, first touchdown, we rush the field. Place is just going crazy. I thought it was the coolest thing ever, because you could just see the disappointment on the Florida fans' faces. like we were walking out, and all the Georgia fans, I thought cuss words were the funniest thing on earth at that point in time. Everybody's, you know, they were giving birds to the Florida fans, and I'm just laughing at it. I thought it was awesome. So I fell in love with it then, but, you know, like I said, I'm good now. I'll watch it from home this next time.
Yeah, I've been the past 3 years, and 2021, I literally was almost involved in shooting. There literally was a man who was shot and murdered in my general area, and people were running away from it. My girlfriend almost got trampled by people. Had to pick her right up to the ground and just take off.
Man, that's Jacksonville, baby. That's why.
That's it. I mean, it just is what it is.
Remember when we took that wrong turn and we were literally like in the hood, like we were in.
Oh, that's where we parked for this game.
Yeah, we were like, we looked up that restaurant. Right, oh, this looks pretty good, and we walked down there, and there was just like, it was like all low income housing. We walked the wrong way. And I'm like, you know what? We probably shouldn't be over here, but good food though. Food was unbelievable.
It was good. It was good food. We watched Michigan State whoop Michigan's ass.
Yes, we did. That was fun. We found the cheapest parking spot possible. Yeah. I mean, you get good times. We literally drove down there that night and then drove all the way back after the game, pissed off
because we lost.
We had to watch freaking some bad football that
No,
night.
it was Clemson and Notre Dame. It was a good game. It was the game DJ.
No, I'm talking about the freaking actual game.
Oh, yeah. The Georgia.
That
yeah.
sucks.
That's
our last regular season loss.
The first half was awesome. Until Stetson Bennett got hurt, and then Dwan Mathis came in and just is the worst quarterback to ever grace the field as in a Georgia uniform. I can't. There's not possibly anyone worse.
By the way, Griff, in this Bucks Bills game, did you see Jake Camarda get involved in the scrum and get his helmet ripped off?
No, I missed that.
It was quite funny. I was just like barely like kind of watching. I was doing something on my computer, and I look up and I saw there was a scrum. I'm like, oh sweet. And the next thing I know, somebody's helmet goes flying, and it was Jake. They did like to zoom in and stuff. It was freaking Ed Rousseau or however you say it on.
Heck no.
Yeah, and he freaking
get out of there,
his
Jake.
Helmet off. And he was still mouthing. I'm like, Jake, scram, bro.
Dude, get out of there.
But yeah,
you're not made for this.
Anyway, Georgia, Florida this week. We have a 14.5-point spread. Vegas sees us winning by 3 scores. Griff, what's your thoughts? Initial thoughts?
After thinking about it all week long, really mulling over all the details and diving deep into the stats and analysis, we're going to beat the brakes off of them.
Any of this was done.
We're going to beat the brakes off of them.
Tell me some of the stats. Tell me some of the stats and analysis you dove deep into.
I didn't dive into any. Come on now, guys. All we need to know is that on one sideline, there's Kirby Smart.
Yeah.
On the other sideline, there's Billy Napier.
Great guy, Billy Napier.
He's a great guy.
Billy Napier.
He's from the right part of town. He's from a great place.
Yep.
Great people come from there.
Great guy. Not the best coach on the field on Saturday.
He not even close. I mean, there might be 4 coaches on the sideline of Georgia that are better than him. So
here's a question. Would Florida fans trade Billy Napier for Will Muschamp right now?
No, they hate Will Muschamp.
I don't know, dude. I don't know if that's true. In the Twitter comments, I always see like Muschamp didn't work out as good as a head coach, but at least we knew every year we'd roll on with a good defense. So like, it kind of takes you sucking being a complete doormat for a little bit to like appreciate what you had.
Do you think they'd take Dan Mullen back right now?
In a heartbeat.
Really?
In a heartbeat, dude. Yes, I really do.
That dude's a clown. I miss
Dan Mullen. I wish Dan Mullen was still the coach because this week would be even better. I hated Dan Mullen. I probably hated Dan Mullen more than any other coach I've ever hated.
There's no way. Butch Jones has to take the cake.
I didn't like Butch Jones, but Dan Mullen, dude. While we were in college, it was Dan. Florida fans were just like, before we had the podcast page, if we had the podcast page when Florida fans were on their high, that would have been a war.
Whenever they swore up and down that Dan Mullen was a better coach than Kirby Smart,
I was just on my own Twitter account at that point, and I don't really say much on my own Twitter account, and I was just fuming all the time like these people, dude. I freaking hate them. So yeah, there's the way he approached everything, his press conferences, everything about him was just so freaking goofy. I couldn't stand it. That's the most satisfying loss that Georgia didn't give was the LSU loss, like the Florida losing to LSU that kicked them out of the playoffs.
That was a good one.
Because I'm going into that SEC championship game, and I'm like, Florida could beat Bama, and they will go to the playoff, and that is something I do not want bad. And when they did that, dude, that was the freaking best. That was the best.
That was awesome.
Anyway, let's give me your top 3 Georgia Florida games of your lifetime.
Ooh, I like this question. Number one for me is probably 2012. That game was
Yeah.
awesome. 2012 was
Awesome.
that game is just everything. Like it just was so mucky too. It was just a nasty game. Aaron Murray threw 3 picks in the first half. The Malcolm Mitchell touchdown, Jarvis Jones forced fumble at the end of the game. That one is number one for me. Number two is probably easy too. 2007 beating Tebow and rushing the field. Like that one's
The best.
so awesome. And then 3, I'd probably say it's got to be one time when we beat Dan Mullen, probably 2021. But I don't know. 2019 was good too.
2019 was good just because both teams, like it was probably the most even matchup we've had there in a while.
Yeah. 2019 was good. 2018 wasn't bad because they kind of came into that game with some hype, but we killed all
2017 was awesome, dude. 2017 is in my top 3 for sure.
But
just
that
was the first time. Yeah, but that was the first time really in our lifetime that we had just ran them out of that
They
stadium.
beat Tennessee. Didn't they beat Tennessee on a Hail Mary that year pretty much?
I think that was the year. I think
that the year after.
Yeah, because no, I guess it was that year because the year before is when Tennessee went and beat them for the first time in like 12 years.
Yeah.
Because all I heard about was freaking whatever his name was, Vernon Tease Tabor.
Juwan Jennings.
That was the best. Yeah. Anyway, mine is the same. I would just swap out 7 years for 17 because 17 was the best. 07 will always be the best for me because that story I just told. But 2012 would be next, and then 2017 just boat racing them was for the first time really ever. Was the best.
That was it was awesome.
Anyway, so this game here, I don't really know what to think about it, honestly, because I think Florida might be the most talented team we've played all year. Like, I think they probably definitely are. I don't think there's a close second.
Talented, maybe, but they did get boat raced by Kentucky.
Yeah, I don't. They're definitely not as good of a team as Kentucky is, but Florida is definitely more talented than Kentucky, especially on the lines of scrimmage. Kentucky is probably better, but Florida has more talent.
I think South Carolina is a decently talented team. Shane Beamer is just a bum.
They're nowhere near Florida, though. Florida's definitely the most talented. And, I think that's a good test because we're kind of going into a stretch. We are going into a stretch. It's our toughest stretch of the season. Florida's up first. It's kind of an on-ramp to it. They're probably the worst of the 4. Well, I mean, they killed Tennessee, so I guess they're the third of the 4th. That game, like, people just forget about that game, I think, especially when talking about Tennessee.
It's crazy, honestly.
And I'm like, what? How are we like Tennessee fans today on Twitter? I see the Voldemort guy who I like. I legitimately like Voldemort. I think
he's funny.
I think he's funny. Like, and he has some feel. Like, he admits when he's wrong. He's funny. Anyway, he tweeted, "Who do we really want to win, Georgia or Florida?" And I start reading the comment sections, which is the best thing to do on Twitter. If you don't like Twitter, you're not reading the comment sections. That's your problem.
And that's fact.
So I go read the comment section, and people are like, "Well, I really think we need to pull for Florida because for us to get to Atlanta, we need Georgia to lose." Tennessee's about to lose like 3 of their next 4 games. They got boat raced by Florida. Heupel will never win on the road.
Dude, they are really, really lucky that they pulled out that A&M game and that Jimbo Fisher is just a terrible football coach.
They're also like everyone is just extremely confident they're going to beat Kentucky. I don't know I don't know what to think about Tennessee, but I do know that Florida beat the brakes off of them in Gainesville. So I have Florida is capable of being pretty good. Like that. I guess that's what I'm getting at. They've had the 2 losses they had, they got embarrassed. They really did. The Utah one was brutal. But Kentucky just ran down their throat, which kind of floored me. And so that's why in years past, if a team can be ran on, Georgia's going to kill them.
Yeah.
And if it starts out slow, that's fine because we're going to get in the 4th quarter and we're going to start gashing you.
Yeah.
And
I will say I don't think this is going to be one of those slow start games. I don't think I think we're going to jump out in this one. I don't think they have anything for our offense on defense at this point. Like,
I hope not. I really do because obviously that'd be great. I kind of see it more as a slow starter, and then we just lean on them. You look up, and you're like, "Oh, we won by 24."
But also at the same time, you have Like, I mean, this offense has a fire under their butt right now. Like, the past 2 weeks have been.
I agree.
Brock Bowers is gone. What's this offense going to do? What's Georgia going to look like without Brock Bowers? They're not going to be able to do anything. He saved them against Auburn. I mean, what would have happened in that Auburn game if they didn't have Brock Bowers? You're about to find out what happens when we don't have Brock Bowers, and we're still just as good. Not just as good, but we're still really good.
I think the key stat in this game, I've heard it on a few different platforms now, is Florida is like one of the worst teams on third down on offense. And we are the number 1 third down defense in the country. So if we shut down the run game, they're screwed. And that's anybody against us. If we make a team one-dimensional, they're screwed. Florida's run game is very hit or miss. The Utah game, I bet on Florida because I was like, Utah's really good, but Florida's run game is supposed to be really, really good at ETN, good offensive line. I think Florida can muck this up and keep it within the points. They didn't. They couldn't run the ball at all. Mm-hmm. And Utah's the best defense they face. Then against Tennessee, they just ran all over them. Mm-hmm. Kentucky kind of stifled a little bit, but they've been able to run the ball in most games. Carolina, they were behind the whole game, so they threw it. So it's I don't really have a good feel on Florida at all. And I've watched most of their games, and I still don't have a good feel for them. I do think they're talented. I think they have some guys. I don't think they're a very good team. But, if you have talent and it's a rivalry game and they're going to get up for it big time, I do kind of see it being mucked up a little bit, but not enough where you ever feel like Florida's in the game.
We are going to get up for this game.
Well, yeah, there's no question about that. Kirby hates Florida.
He does. He hates them. And think about the past years when the talent differential or just we're just better. What has happened in this game when we're just better than them by a mile? The years when it was closer, 2019 is a close game, but it was two really good teams. Other than that, it's been 3 scores at least.
We've put it on them lately, and I don't know. It's just never. If I'm an opposing team, I just never feel good about coming into a game against Georgia and being like, "All right, we got to run the ball really well against them." It just doesn't happen. It never happens. Florida or Auburn game, you're like, well, they ran good on you. There was one run for 70 yards, and it was Peyton Thorne. Nobody game planned for Peyton Thorne to run the ball. Yeah, and there he went. So no one has ran consistently on us in 3 years. I would say Oklahoma was probably the last team that just kind of gashed us on the ground for a little bit. So you're going to have to beat us through the air, and then it falls on the shoulders of Graham Mertz, transfer quarterback from Wisconsin, left for dead at Wisconsin. He was a 5-star quarterback. He was supposed to be their savior. He threw for 5 touchdowns in the season opener on a Thursday night his freshman year, and everybody thought he was the GOAT. And then he was horrible there. He's not been bad for Florida at all. Even in the Utah game when they were playing, I'm like, he's playing pretty well, honestly.
Yeah, he's been pretty good. But I mean,
the issue is if he doesn't have that crutch on the run game, I think we can put him in some seriously tough positions.
Yeah. He hasn't faced a secondary as talented as ours because there isn't one.
He hasn't
at the end of the day, there isn't one. And I haven't watched much of his tape or just really been locked in on him all year. But if he tries to get too comfortable back there and sit and try to just pick apart our secondary, he's either going to get sacked or picked off. It's just I don't have any confidence in Graham Mertz beating us. So, and maybe I'm just way too low on him, but we've seen it, guys. We've seen what he is.
This is the area where it's well, a quarterback doesn't beat you, but it really does. I mean, the last 3 losses of Kirby's career was Kyle Trask, who was a Heisman finalist, Bryce Young, who was a Heisman finalist, and Joe Burrow, who was the best. I mean, Bryce Young and Joe Burrow won Heisman. It's those are pretty much the last 3 of Kirby's losses. Who else was in 2020? It was Mac Jones. So Mac Jones, another Heisman finalist. Yeah, those are the guys who beat us in the past. And a team that has a really good receivers. Ricky Pearsall's okay. I mean, they have a couple other guys who are pretty good. It's just this is one of those games where I don't think it's it's going to take the Florida offense to beat us. No, it feels like one of those games where it's going to take Georgia beating us. a muff punt in the wrong territory, doing something dumb on third down, just stuff where we're beating ourselves. We give Florida some life, and then all of a sudden it just takes Graham Mertz to score a couple points, and they're beating us. I don't think it's going to be one of those things where if we're doing the right thing, I don't think if we play a decent game that Florida can come out and beat us. There's no way that can happen. But there is a way where we can come out, especially early, do something dumb on special teams, even a missed field goal. We know how that momentum swings stuff. It's just stuff like that where you're just giving Florida life. You give them life. And next thing you know, you're midway through the third quarter and you got a freaking dogfight on your hands.
Yeah. And that's not what I want to watch on Saturday.
No.
I want to watch us beat the brakes off of these fools.
Here's what I will say, Griff. I was telling somebody this today, actually. They're asking me about Georgia, what I thought. Blah, blah. I'm like, we're good. I mean, we're one of the better teams. I mean, I believe we're the best team in the country. I could see how you argue against that, but personally, that's what I believe. I've had a lot of fun watching the season, though, because I have lowered my expectations slightly just because I didn't know what to expect coming into the season, and I still don't know what to expect day in and day out. So you kind of go in every week with a little bit of butterflies, which last year, none. Zero. Yeah,
no. It's crazy.
There were 0 butterflies at any point in time. After the first quarter of the Oregon game, I knew for a fact we were going undefeated. It was just like, okay, this team's unbelievable. This team, I think, is very, very good, and I think they're going to be very, very good. But I still rolling on Saturdays like, okay, which team we're going to get? I'm very excited for this next month of football.
Yeah.
This is the best regular season stretch we've had in a long, long time. I'm excited about it. It's going to be some good tests.
Yeah, I'm super pumped.
I'm very glad we have Missouri at home.
Yeah, me too. They're good.
They are very good. Missouri is good, legitimately good. We got a lot.
Yeah.
We'll talk about them next week. But anyway, what do you see us doing? You already kind of mentioned about the offense. You think they're going to wake up, and I mentioned that last show too. I think we're going to come out with a chip on our shoulder. They've heard it all week.
Listen, dude.
Who do we lean on? I guess Bowers was the crutch. It's hard to even say crutch. He was just the best player. Who's the guys getting those targets in crunch time?
I think it's Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint. I think it's it's all your seasoned receivers. It's Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint. It's Dominic Lovett. It's
you're getting a big one.
It's Ra Thomas.
No, you're forgetting an even bigger one.
Who the heck?
Ladd McConkey.
Oh, duh.
Literally our best receiver.
Yeah, it's Ladd McConkey. It's those guys. We have 4 guys. Those 4 guys right there are seasoned wide receivers in the SEC.
Yeah.
They are all seasoned wide receivers in the SEC.
So you think it's kind of like a committee, not one guy picks up the pieces. You think the group elevates?
Yeah, it's Moneyball, man. We don't need another Brock Bowers. We need 3 guys who can produce what Brock Bowers is producing.
Yeah. I agree. And I thought that from the whole time. I was like, well, I think Oscar Delp's going to step in and really do well. I think he's going to do well too. But we don't need Oscar Delp to replace Brock Bowers. That's not what we need. We need him to come in and help elevate the team so we can, as a group, collectively replace Brock Bowers. You're not going to replace him with one guy. That's there's a reason he's Brock Bowers.
He is the best player in college football.
Yeah, you don't replace that. You don't replace that. What you do, like we said, is you use everyone around you to elevate their game and to replace him as a whole. So that's what I expect him to do on offense for sure. There's a good chance for Beck to prove some stuff. He's not a Bowers merchant or whatever.
This is the most talented receiving core we've had in a while.
Oh, it's not even close. Well, yeah. Last year's pretty good with AD.
Yeah.
With AD and
but
Ladd.
He didn't play all year.
And Marcus
really.
Yeah, no doubt. So, for sure. For full season, definitely.
This receiving core is really, really good. And people are soon about to find out that Carson Beck is a freaking baller. I'm sick and tired of nobody really actually respecting him. People are like,
he's kind of weird.
He's serviceable. He's good. He's fine. No, he's good.
And have y'all
not been watching?
I will say the Georgia fan base seems pretty unanimous across the board that Beck is a dude. At this point.
Yeah, and that's good. But the rest of the country,
I think the Kentucky game was okay, he can do it. because I haven't seen much Beck slander at all in our comment
Yeah,
section. in a
and that's
while.
good. That's what.
But yes,
exactly
you're
what it
right.
should
When I
be.
listen to other people talk, like big college football people, and they'll mention Carson Beck, oh, we got to see what he's got to do without Bowers. Like nobody says about any other quarterback in the country. Like, oh, his best, he's got Brock Bowers. Okay,
I saw
yeah,
on Twitter.
Patrick Mahomes has Travis Kelce, and he's still the
Yeah.
best quarterback in the league.
I saw our good friend Chris Marler on Twitter today come out with some quarterback rankings for the SEC. At number 3, he had Graham Mertz, and at number 4, he had Carson Beck.
We'll
that
see.
dude has never been wrong about anything ever.
We'll see.
So maybe we're in trouble.
We'll
But
see. They'll playing each other on the same field today, or on Saturday. So
yeah,
we will no longer have to argue after this game. Who do you have 1 and 2? Jaden Daniels and who? Dart.
Jaden Daniels and who was it?
It had to be Jackson Dart. There's no way it was anyone else.
It had to be Jackson Dart.
which I disagree with, but
yeah, it's
no. There's a legit opportunity in front of us here. Like, I don't think any of those teams are losing before. Well, Tennessee will. But
Yeah.
Ole Miss and Missouri are not going to lose before we play them again. Ole Miss could be a top 10 team by the time we play them. Heck, Missouri won't be a top 10.
Who does Missouri play this week?
They're bye. They're off.
Oh, dang. They get a bye before us?
Yep. I'm telling you, it's just, if it wasn't in Sanford, I'd be scared, but I just don't see them coming in Sanford to beat us.
We ain't losing in Sanford,
That's
baby.
a story for another time. But
no, he has Brady Cook number 2. Oh, no, he has Carson Beck at 5. I was wrong. He has Jaden Daniels 1, Brady Cook 2, Jackson Dart 3, Graham Mertz 4, Carson Beck 5.
yeah, I mean, I'm fine if you put Beck forward there. I don't think you can put Graham Mertz in front of him. Does Graham Mertz have better stats? Or
No,
okay,
he's got less picks.
he threw for 420. Like, it's inflated on Carolina. He threw for 429. But what was I going to say? There's a legit chance coming up with this schedule in front of us. Like, we're going to be a featured game every single week for the next month. Like, if Beck goes out and balls out in those games, that dude's going to be in New York.
Yeah, look out.
Like, there's a legit chance. If you're a gambling man, I don't know what his odds are right now. I think-
He's in the conversation right now, I think. He's like, I saw an ESPN thing today that was like the top 5 Heisman and then the next 6. And he was in the next 6.
Yeah, and I think that's probably a good spot for him right now. But it's because he hasn't had a chance to showcase anything. Kentucky's the only one, and he did really well. So I think it's worth a sprinkle right now. I don't know what the odds are. They're probably like 3,000.
I can look it up.
But
I don't know if it's that high, to be honest. Well, maybe it is.
I bet
Because
it
there
is.
are some guys who are like heavy favorites right now. Michael Penix is pretty high up there. But he had a bad week last week.
JJ McCarthy is the
Yeah, JJ McCarthy.
Anyway, I do not think that's a bad bet. I wouldn't put a ton of money on it. But just because of the opportunity in front of us, and like, I also think that it's possible if he really shows out these next 4 games that he would.
I'm showing plus 3,500 right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's tough to pass up.
I think that's worth like a $20 sprinkle on it.
Yeah, like a half unit.
So
Half unit sprinkle on there. Yeah, I'm excited to see how he responds because I think he's a very good player. I think he's as talented as anybody we've had under center in a long time, and he's capable of winning us games, which he's kind of done already against Auburn and South Carolina to an extent. So let's just see how it plays out.
You can say whatever you want about Brock Bowers winning us the Auburn game. Yeah, he did, like, absolutely. But also Carson Beck made some throws
and he
that a lot of quarterbacks in the country aren't making.
I think what really did it for me in the Auburn game was the fact that he just didn't look rattled. He didn't look sped up at all.
Man.
We're down 7 points, and he's all right, screw it. Touchdown. Next drive, touchdown. And that right there showed me a lot about him.
Same thing against South Carolina, too. Down 14-3 at the half. Offense looked horrendous for a whole half of football. What does he do first drive? He comes out, looks calm, composed, and just absolutely tears down the field. Like,
yeah, he doesn't get sped up, and that'll be big this game because this isn't a different environment. I mean, he's probably been there 3 times now, so he understands it. He's from Florida, so there probably is a little chip on his shoulder there. But
I did hear a stat. The last Out of the last 10 first starts for QBs in this Florida game, we were 1-9.
Yeah, I mean Jake Fromm's the only win.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean we started a lot of quarterbacks against Florida.
We have Fonten Bonta.
I mean,
Jacob
Lambert got a
Eason.
start. Eason got a start.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that stat doesn't hold much weight.
But it is true. Like that environment is different because like especially if you grew up in that area, you know how big it is. And he's a guy. I think he's a North Florida guy too.
He's a Florida guy.
I think he's North too. So he probably grew up going to that game. He knows a lot about it. Like there is going to be a little something extra for him. But I hope if he can just settle in the game early. Get some easy throws for him. And we've talked about it before. I don't think easy throws for him is screens. I think it's more like a comeback route where he can really rip it. So let's get him involved early. Let's get him rolling early, get him in sync, and then just let him blossom.
Just let him just run some throws over the middle. Let him just sling that thing. Like I just it's felt so nice. Every good drive that we've had, it feels like it starts with like a deep slant over the middle that just like is wide open, and he just chunks one. Like just
he likes to let it go. He's a gunslinger. I love it. He's a gunslinger. Defensively, you got to stop the run. You got to stop Florida's run.
Yep.
And I think we're going to make a statement here. We need our edges to come play. We got to set the edge. We can't get beat off the edge. We played a lot of young guys against Vanderbilt. I kind of expect to see a lot of the same. I think they're just so talented that you can't keep them off the field. It's just a sink or swim at this point. And I think this is the first game where our defense really has to get up for. Like Kentucky kind of was. But this is the one where it's like, all right, let's prove we're the best. And so that gives me a little bit of confidence going into it.
Yeah, I'm gonna listen to the Kirby Smart halftime speech from 2021 about 7 times in the morning on Saturday.
Yeah, they should put that in their pregame playlist on the bus.
It's just like
Florida fans, man. How do you think they feel? Have you seen many on Twitter? I haven't seen many.
I honestly think they feel pretty good.
I think if they covered, it'd be a win. Like I think if they kept the game
for them for
competitive,
sure, it'd be a win if they covered. Sadly, they're not. It's
I think they're at the point where if they keep it competitive, like they've won 5 games already, which is I think if you gave them some true serum, it'd be better than they thought they'd be at this point.
No, it's definitely better than I thought they'd be. I mean, their win total was set at 5.5.
And honestly,
they're 1 game away from getting it.
If they're being realistic, that is a win for them. If they keep this game competitive, that is 1,000% a win for them.
Yeah.
That would be a step in the right direction. I think if we go boat race them, that they probably lose a lot of hope about the future. It's like when is this ever
and
close?
what does Graham Mertz look like in the future? How much time does he really have? How much time does he have left on this team?
He can't have many more years. One at most. He was a freshman in like.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like if this is his last year, that's one thing that like with the transfer
I don't think
portal,
it's his last because of COVID, but I think he was a freshman in 2020.
That's one thing that's like weird to me about the transfer portal is like there's teams out there who just go and plug and play a quarterback like Graham Mertz, who's not gonna Florida is not a team that's gonna compete. Like I get it if you're a team that's gonna compete.
I don't know. I think it makes sense in Florida's case personally because here's why. They're very talented. They have a team that can go out and you're trying to build in college football. There's no such thing as punting years because you're always trying to build momentum for recruiting.
You have to just win no matter what. Like
so you get Graham Mertz and you plug him in, and regardless if you think he's going to be there 1 or 2 years, they have their guy they think's coming in next year, the Lagway kid. Mm-hmm. They think he's the best, and he is like the highest rated quarterback in that class according to 247. So that's kind of what they're aiming for. So I think they're kind of you bring in Graham Mertz, he's kind of that bridge guy until you get him. You build the team around him, and then you plug in that last piece, the quarterback, and hope that's the final piece.
Yeah.
But there are some scenarios where I see what we're talking about, but I don't think Florida has like a young freshman stud. Like Rashada ended up not going there, so like it'd be different if like I see what you're saying. If you had a freshman quarterback who you thought was very talented and good, like just take your lumps and play him and let him take a beating, and then hopefully he comes back next year better. But in Florida's case, I'm not sure they have that.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
No, but the defense, dude,
I want a defensive tutty.
I would love to see a defensive tutty.
The defensive tutty would be sick. I'm already getting hyped thinking about that.
I don't know if you've ever mentioned it on the show, but I think we have to talk about the story where you got that Florida fan and told him that you already got the ESPN notification at the game.
This man. All right, what was that? 21?
Yeah,
Or was it 22?
I think it was
No,
21.
21. I think
It was
Nakobe.
definitely
It was
21.
Nakobe. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this man, and I want everyone that's listening to this podcast, unless you're driving, to close your eyes right now and think of a Florida fan. Think of the stereotypical Florida fan. I bet you're thinking bald to balding, a little bit overweight, wearing some overalls, very country. Kind
I'll
of looks
show
like
you what
Turtle
you're
Man.
thinking. I'll show you what you're thinking right here.
Probably looks a little bit like Turtle Man.
I got
That's
it.
what you're thinking. Yeah, something similar to that. That's who was sitting in front of us at this game. And, it was pretty close for the whole time. Like, we've been cutting up with them the whole time. They were funny. And I'm standing on so I'm in the first part of the Florida section, but I'm at the very top. I'm at the very top row, backs to the wall of the bottom section. So there's kind of, there's that big wall right there behind the end zone. My back's against that. So I wasn't surrounded by Florida fans. Thank the Lord. I kind of had, upper hand on. I had the high ground. Well, this dude, you're cutting up the whole time, and Nolan Smith had just created like 2 turnovers himself. So we'd scored and kind of went up I think it was like 17-3 at that point.
Yeah.
And as Florida's driving down, I tell the guy, I'm like, oh, I just got notification on my phone. We get a pick 6 right here. And this man turns around. Are you serious? And then he sat there for a minute and thought about it. Oh, no. You almost got me. I'm like, something going, I did get you. Next play, Nakobe Dean picks him off pick 6. It was hilarious. That dude started dying laughing. I respected it. He thought it was hilarious. And he's leaving. They left there like, oh, y'all are kicking our ass. And he's like dapping me up and stuff. He's like, that was a good one. I was like, all right, man. Have a nice drive home.
I did that to a Kentucky fan during the Kentucky game this year. I just randomly thought of that moment.
Because, it happens like, when you're sitting watching football or something, it happens. And so you get used to hearing it.
I don't think anyone actually believed it when I said it, but because we scored on the play that I said it. And then one Georgia fan in the sea of blue that was in front of me because I was in the Kentucky section turned around, was like,
yeah, it was funny. But yeah, if you're going to Jacksonville this week, have some good time. If you got any pictures, tag us on them on Twitter. I would love to see them. I would like to go. I think it'd be fun. But if you really give me some true serum, I'd rather just stay here and watch it.
Yeah.
Anyway, any predictions? Give me your final predictions before we go.
Prediction for the game. I got the Dogs just absolutely slaughtering the freaking Gators. 37.
Yeah, give me a couple detailed predictions.
All right, 37-10 is the score. I got Carson Beck going for 300 plus.
Okay.
3 TDs.
Okay.
Dejon goes for 100 on the ground. We're gonna
scored.
Yeah, 500 total yards of offense. Probably.
Oh,
they don't have anything for us, man. On defense, They don't. People are going to find out.
Rattler did cut them up last week.
Dude, people are going to find out that this Georgia offense is for real. And we are. I don't care what you think about Mike Bobo. I don't care what you think about Carson Beck. I don't care what you think about our running backs. We are going to dice up this Florida team the way that we could any single team we wanted to in the country.
Oh, okay. Any defensive predictions?
On defense, I think Graham Mertz is going to throw at least 1 interception. We're forcing at least 2 turnovers. I think an interception, forced fumble.
Love it.
I'd love to see a defensive touchdown, but I think we get a Malachi Starks pick this week.
Okay. Yeah, you kind of stole mine. I was going to say Malachi Starks pick 6. He hadn't had one of those yet, has he?
No. That would be sick.
I'd love to see right after the Powerade commercial, dude. He's on, he's riding some momentum, dude. That came out of nowhere. I was like, is that Malachi Starks?
He's a
He's
beast.
yeah, he's just on a Powerade commercial. I was
He's
like,
a
I was
superstar,
like,
man.
that's freaking sick.
He really
So, yeah,
is. He's
I
a
think
superstar.
fresh off his Powerade commercial, that's a pick six. I'm with you. I think Beck torches him. I think he torches him. I think this is the Ladd McConkey breakout game. Personally,
Ooh.
I think he goes for over 100. I think he hits somebody on a double move, and we get a nice deep ball, nice Jacksonville deep ball, which will be fun. And yeah, I think defense keeps them under 14 points.
We're covering the spread.
I think we stifle them. Kirby's going to have something for them, unless I think we give up less than 14 defensive points. Hopefully, we don't have any turnovers or anything that gives them points. But yeah, that's my predictions for the game. I think Georgia wins by 20 plus. I do think it's a little bit ugly early on, maybe. And then I think we hit a big play and it just gets rolling. That's my predictions. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully we come out from the gate and get them bumping. Before we go, Griff.
Yeah, let's talk about it. I was going to say.
How are you feeling? Give me your North Carolina boys went down. And
Dude.
that and this was actually the week, dude. It wasn't just them. Like, because we had this discussion, like, people just think, oh, they start looking at schedules ahead.
If they should win, they will.
Right.
And
that's
not what it is.
schedules, and it's like, oh, Oklahoma, they don't play anybody the rest of the year. They're going to walk the teams that go undefeated. Either are TCU, where they've got a horseshoe shoved straight up.
There's a reason that doesn't happen. Like,
it doesn't happen. If you go back and look at some of TCU's wins, it's like Auburn level bullcrap.
No, yeah, and they were still a good team. Don't get it twisted about us thinking that they weren't a good team, because they were. And as much as people want to, which is still something that people say on Twitter nonstop, is like,
and it doesn't bother me at all.
It doesn't bother me either. Like
I don't know if it bothers anyone.
We won the national championship. How are you gonna? How could you possibly take that away from us? We didn't lose a single game and won the national championship.
All right. Anyway, Griff.
Whatever. Yeah. But yeah, UNC, dude, that's tough, man.
Yeah, and it's like I was saying, you look at the schedule and you think, oh yeah, they should win out. Teams that go undefeated recruit at a very, very high level, and they are really, really good. And it takes a little bit of luck. Like, it doesn't happen very often. There's never been a team that's just dominated every single game of their schedule. Like LSU almost lost to Texas. LSU had a dogfight with Auburn. LSU went toe-to-toe with Alabama. Like, it takes a very, very good team to do it to start, and it takes a little bit of luck. These teams that we're talking about, like Oklahoma is a good team. They're not a great team. They're not like those teams don't go undefeated.
Dylan Gabriel's getting a lot of hype right now, and I don't think he's played it. He's had a great season. He's been really good, but I just don't like. I just don't trust him.
UCF had them dead
to make it through the whole year.
Them. But that's one of the games where we might look back and be like, oh, here's where they got lucky and they ended up, going undefeated. You never know. It could happen. But I don't see that. I don't see that happening. I think they're going to drop a game. Florida State is really good. I can see them dropping a game. Like, it's going to happen. These teams are going to lose. We're not going to get to a point where there's so many undefeated teams. We don't know who to put in the playoffs. Washington's going toe-to-toe at home against the worst team in the Pac-12. These teams are very good. They're very, very, very good college football teams. They are not great college football teams. It's still to be seen if Georgia is. It's still to be seen if Ohio State and Michigan are. Ohio State's kind of proven they might be. They're beating some good teams.
Yeah, I think they're pretty good, and I don't think it's because of it's not because of the way that they've been good in the past. They're
tough.
Yeah,
they're legitimately tough.
We'll see if they're for real tough, like when they play Michigan. But
but they're winning games defensively, which I think is more impressive than offensively.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So and when we sat here and talked about North Carolina, we had a little miscommunication. I was asking Griffin, does he think they're going undefeated? He never really answered the question, but it doesn't matter. They didn't. They lost to potentially the worst Power 5 team in the country.
Yeah, tough, man, tough.
When I saw that, all I could do was laugh. I didn't watch much of the game. I just kind of saw it in the fourth quarter, and I was like, oh my god.
I watched like a tiny bit of it, and I didn't even have anything on the game. I didn't have any action or anything, but dude, tough. I'd love to see Drake May win the Heisman. I still do have a Drake May future to win the Heisman. He played well in that game.
The stars would have to line up like straight evenly
What would have to happen for him to do that? Because he has great stats.
They'd have to
like,
win the ACC and
You think they have to win the
dominant
ACC?
fashion. I do.
I mean, he has a chance to get a marquee win like that. Like if they make it to the ACC championship or play Florida State, like he's got a chance to get a marquee win like that, you know?
Yeah, definitely. But
And I don't feel like
I think
Like,
they don't
dude.
play Florida State until the ACC championship. So like, they
yeah,
gotta
but
win.
that's fine.
That's what I'm saying. They got to win the ACC championship.
Yeah. Yeah. Who
You
knows?
can't lose to Virginia and win the Heisman unless you win it all. Unless you win the ACC.
I don't know, dude. I'm trying to think of somebody.
Does a
that-
one-loss North Carolina ACC champion get in?
Depends who else is out there.
Whew, that would be something there. That would be something.
They'd be the 4 seed. I know there's not.
They're not going to win out though, man. They play at Clemson and at NC State in the year. That's tough.
Yeah.
That's who I had circled. I didn't think Virginia would beat them, but
No, I didn't either.
I mean that's outrageous.
They still have Duke too.
Is there any other big SEC games this week? LSU Bama's next week.
Kentucky, Tennessee.
Yeah. That's. It doesn't seem that big to me. Neither of those teams are in the East.
No,
It's
it-
Missouri. It's Missouri. They're the best
Yeah,
thing.
it's not a big deal because we've already played Kentucky. If we hadn't played Kentucky yet, that game would feel a lot bigger than it does.
Yeah, agreed. But to me, Tennessee's going to lose to Missouri, and so it's hard for me to even.
They play at Missouri. They're going to get smoked in that game, honestly.
Yeah, they play them before they play us too. Tennessee could have 4 losses before we play them, which will be hilarious.
We kind of suck.
No,
We're just
Completely
riding. We're just riding so high off of how awesome it was last year when they came in undefeated to Sanford Stadium, #1 team in the country, and we embarrassed them. That's like all of our dreams come true, right?
it was
there.
funny,
Like,
but I would still just rather see them lose.
yeah,
Personally, every game.
yeah.
Anyway, that's the show for tonight. If you reach this far, we're just spitballing now. This is what we'll do as soon as we turn off y'all just saw our conversation after we turn off the cameras and we talk here for a little bit before I say, all right, I get it off. That's it right there.
Yeah, that's pretty
Just,
much.
just talking about college football games. So I guess we just left the camera rolling for you. If you stayed around, we appreciate it. You're probably one of the dudes. Would love to watch a game with you sometime. We should have a Backstreet Boys get together.
We should just I don't know. If you do decide to come next weekend for the Missouri game, we can go somewhere and watch some later games, something like that.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Maybe find some folks.
All right, that was fun, boys. And women. Big game this week. We got to enjoy it. Love playing Florida. There's something about the jerseys, man. Like Georgia, Florida, in Jacksonville. It's gonna be sick. I'm so excited for it. I hope we just tear it to them too. Let's make it happen. Subscribe to the show. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Insta, TikTok, all the above. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Go Dogs.